a Calmini 5-inch lift kit, SPOA spring over axle lift kit, along with the special high steer to go with the lift kit, and the brake lines that you need, the longer brake lines and everything. Yeah, everything's here from Calmini.com. It's going to go on our Zuke. The thing on the vehicle hoist, and the tires are spread from the fender wells now because it's off the suspension. And she's going up. Somebody was overzealous. It's either gonna break or it's gonna come loose. It came loose. Okay, almost everything's disconnected in here. Got the shocks out, got all the bolts loose, got the drive shaft off. All we have to do now is undo the brake lines. It's got 2 rubber flex lines here that have to come out. You got to put longer flex lines in because the rear end's further from the frame. Oh yeah, don't take the back axle out without lowering the vehicle, because otherwise the balance point will drop the front end down and you'll have trouble there. So any of you dumbasses that do that, it's your own fault. When you put your lift kit in too, it makes for a way better installation. This is the part where you actually loosen the springs to drop the axle. Take the springs out. Okay, we're just cutting the U-bolts off. It's way easier to cut the U-bolts off than undo them. If you're going to reinstall them, you want new ones anyway. Here goes. Don't cut your axle tube. Just cut the U-bolt just until it pops, just like that. Use your handy mechanic's hammer from the 60s, see, to knock the U-bolt fragments out. Good job, good job.
Okay, what was that? Tell me again.
Don't put your fingers here. That would be owie. There, spring off. The spring over axle conversion's almost done in the rear here. See a nice plate still, nice blue bumper. Nicely mounted underneath the spring. Both sides. Newer Samurai springs from early 90s. A little softer. 4-leaf. It's got the rubber pads in between. Putting the Calmini taller shocks in next. Make sure you use your liquid wrench. Kind of trick. I've had this for years and years now, and I've even kept the straw. For all of you mechanics out there, the straw is really important, because then you can aim and actually hit the stuff you're shooting at.
What you doing?
Okay, well, I'm taking the front drive shaft off now. Got the front shocks off. getting ready to drop the front end out. You gotta take the roll bar off. The front sway bar, I mean. You gotta take the steering components off because we're putting high steer in. And for now, we're just undoing these bolts for the drive shaft. We have to put the drive shaft spacer in, just like the back, see? The aluminum drive shaft spacer. Because now the axles are further away than they were. So about 1/8 spacer solves the gyronomy. The steering knuckles, the factory steering knuckles. We have to take the factory steering knuckles off because the high steer kit goes under the spring. This goes above the spring to give the proper camber and all that. It comes off pretty easy. Just give it a tap and it's off. Now you can turn your front tires wherever you want. You just got to take the pitman arm. You leave the pitman arm on the steering box. You only remove the control link to the pitman arm, which is of course has a cotter pin and a castle nut. You got to take the cotter pin off and the castle nut off to get this off. And then you're almost ready to drop the front end out. Okay, well all the U-bolts are cut, shocks are out, steering's off, all the bolts are loosened. Just have to take the brake lines off, and the front end's ready to come out. And we'll put the brackets on and put the front end back in again. So it'll be at the same new height as the rear. Maybe one day you can afford to buy concrete from me. Extra leverage. Hook 2 wrenches together. Here's a Suzuki high+steer. It goes on the steering pitman arm up there. And the steering is above the springs. So there's no interference at all with bump steer or ground interference. Calmini. Now you have to grease your drive shaft. The steep angle of the lift kit. It's really greased good. The slip joint, grease that really good. And then there should be another joint over here. Oh, there it is. On top. So you need a flexible leader on your grease gun. Oh yeah, there we go. Nice. Yeah. Good. Okay, now the front one. Front one has the same deal. There it is. Make sure it's clean before you put your tool on there. Okay, now you got to bleed the brakes because you put 4 new brake lines on. So we put brake fluid in the master right here. Okay, upsy daisy. Okay, here's your new high steer from Calmini. You want to adjust your steering wheel so your tire is straight. And then Loctite these 2 nuts. And this is the back rod that tows them in or tows them out. You want to be about 1/8 of an inch towed in and 1/8 of an inch towed in. So you can tape measure the back and the front. This one is 44 1/4 on the front and 44 1/2 on the back in the same location. So you're towed in slightly. Vehicles are designed to plow slightly to keep them straight. Then you take your thread locker, Permatech, medium strength, because you want to be able to undo them again. Turn it up. You want to cover about 4 or 5 threads. Just like that. And then you turn down the lock nut and cinch it tight. There. Okay, so these nuts keep the tires straight, so tighten them up. There we go. Nice and tight. Down she goes.
That's how we do it in the shackles.